Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams Prabhuji.
So, shall we wait just a few minutes and then see if some more people join?
Yes, Prabhuji.
But I have
We'll
already
wait.
started live streaming. I have already started. Anyway, just see.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah, I think we have the
Yes.
program. So let us start. Manglashanam. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण. My humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to glorify a pure devotee. And in the process of glorification, both by speaking and by hearing, we get purified. So in that way, we have been now discussing the Prabhupada lilamrt for close to 57 sessions. This is the 57th session. So we have seen the life of Srila Prabhupada from the time he was born to a nice Vaishnava family, and how that gave a fillip for the spiritual life of Srila Prabhupada. His father gave him the deities even when the child was very, very young. And by watching the father perform worship at home, the child, Abhay Charan, he also started worshipping his own deities in a similar mood. He started conducting Rath Yatra at the age of 5. And the father and mother, especially father, very nicely cooperated with the child in conducting the Rath Yatra. He spent his own money to buy the cart, to decorate the cart, then to make prasadam to be distributed to everyone who came. It became a big festival finally. It went on for something like 9 days. And the friends of Gaur Mohan Day, they started complaining, why you are having such a big festival? Why you have not invited us? The father would say, no, this is only a children's play. See, they are all children playing. I just encourage them. Then they would say, oh, this is one way you are trying to avoid us because you are having such a nice program. And Abhay Charan was leading the Rath Yatra even at the age of 5. So thanks to having a very wonderful Vaishnava parents, he gave a big push. Even when Abhay was very, very young, he could not even reach the 2 heads of the mridanga. He's so small. But father brought a mridanga for him, full-fledged mridanga. His hands could not reach, but he appointed a mridanga teacher for him. Imagine, he spent his money. He was having a small cloths business, but he wanted the child to learn mridanga. And Also, Abhay learned very good values from the father. In a cloth shop, there would be rats, but the father would never use poisons to kill the rats. Rather, he would keep a bowl of water and a bowl of rice. And the rats would come in the night. They would eat the rice, drink the water, and they will do no harm to the clothes, which are all over the place. They will not chew the clothes. So, this is the way man is supposed to live in harmony, in cooperation with all other life around us. We have no business to cut the trees, to destroy the bacteria, viruses, cockroaches, and pests around us. We have no right to kill animals and eat them. So, all these are children of God. We should know how to live in harmony with them. We have to learn. We have no business to say, I am the first priority. And anything useful to me, I will keep. The moment it is no longer useful, I will kill the cow. I will destroy the trees and plants. So this is the mood of man today. So, but Srila Prabhupada, thanks to such a wonderful upbringing, he had excellent values from the time he was born. And he became a nice devotee of Lord. And then, by the Lord's arrangement, and more than that, his father would bring every day Vaishnavas home, offer them sincere Dandavat pranams, and give them food, and ask them, please bless my son to become a devotee of Srimati Radharani, to become a servant of Srimati Radharani. That was the prayer the father would make every day. So thanks to all these things, Abhay was a very brilliant student in school and in college, and all his friends would come to him only for advice, especially in spiritual matters. Because in those days, India was under the British rule, but at the same time, there was a lot of interest in spirituality going on. Like there were people like Aurobindo, Paramahamsa Yogananda, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Vivekananda. So many people developed only in the West Bengal area. They were all, in their own rights, different transcendentalists. So they would always ask Srila Prabhupada, what do you think? And especially when there were Vaishnava sannyasis, they would ask Srila Prabhupada, please tell us, is he genuine or is he bogus? Is he a cheater or should we rely on him? And once the name is cleared by Srila Prabhupada, they would act accordingly. If Prabhupada says, no, he's a cheater, they would avoid that person. If Prabhupada says he's a nice person, then they will go to him like that. And in this fashion, one day Srila Prabhupada found his own spiritual master. In number 1, Ultadanga Junction Road, there was this Bhakti Vinod Asam, like that, the first mutt of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in West Bengal. It was in a rented building. Now it is owned by ISKCON. Now you should all visit that place and relish the mood. That is a place where Srila Prabhupada met his own guru, who was also called Srila Prabhupada. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And so Srila Prabhupada writes, both me and my spiritual master were blessed with Vaishnava parents. That is the result of our good fortune. We had done good amount of spiritual activities in our past lifetimes. So by the mercy of the Lord, we got Vaishnava parents. To take birth in a Vaishnava family is so very rare. But Prabhupada says, both me and my spiritual master got birth in such families. And then when Srila Prabhupada met his own spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, the love of Krishna, which was slumbering in his heart, it woke up with great power. And the desire to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, it was kindled in the heart of Srila Prabhupada by the words of his spiritual master. And then we know the rest of the story we have been seeing in great detail in Prabhupada's lilamrt. How Prabhupada went on trying to spread the movement in India, but having failed completely, he gave up his business, he gave up his family, he became a sannyasi, he lived in Vrindavan for some time, and he wrote the translation and purports of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, in the shape of 3 books. And as soon as the books were ready, Srila Prabhupada left for America. And by the Lord's arrangement, he got the visa and he got the facility to travel in a passenger, in a cargo ship, and Srila Prabhupada went to New York. And the rest of it, the history we have been seeing. So now, what we have been seeing in the last week was that Srila Prabhupada wanted to build the Bombay temple very nicely. He has got 5 acres of land. It is not yet firmly in the hand of ISKCON because there is money to be paid, property to be registered, possession to be taken. For that, some more money has to be paid. But this land, Prabhupada has firmly decided that this will be our Bombay project. A massive temple will come. Not only that, a big international hotel will come, very big restaurant will come, theater will come, and we'll have big, big programs here. Like the Prabhupada's plan, very large guest house will come, where international businessmen can also come and stay, and they can participate in the programs of the temple like that. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever we can look at it, Tamal Krishna, one of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, was in charge of the Bombay property to carry it forward. But Tamal Krishna took sannyas and he started traveling and preaching. Tamal Krishna was a very efficient organizer, administrator, but Prabhupada lost him. And then there was Madhudvisha Swami. He said, Srila Prabhupada, I don't have the ability to carry this big responsibility of coming up with a huge project in Bombay. So Srila Prabhupada immediately left for Nairobi, where one of his earliest disciples, who was now a Swamiji, sannyasi, he was there in Nairobi, preaching to the Africans. Brahmananda Swami. He is actually a white person, an American white, but Srila Prabhupada sent him to Africa, and he did not protest. He did not say, Prabhupada, I have born and brought up in America. I am having a job here. I am earning some good money. I am comfortably living. Why you are asking me to go to Africa? They are all black people. I don't know their culture. They are all poor people. I will not have proper facilities. How we will teach them? I don't know their language. He told so many objections. But he was never like that. Whatever Srila Prabhupada said, he would immediately accept it, because when your spiritual master gives you an order, empowerment comes with it to those who accept the order. For those who don't accept the order, empowerment obviously doesn't come. They don't need it. But those who accept the spiritual master's instructions, empowerment follows automatically. So Srila Prabhupada, he had so many God brothers, they did not take the instructions of Saraswati Thakur seriously, that you should go to the West and teach in the English language and make people accept the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Srila Prabhupada took it seriously, and the empowerment came. So that way, Brahmananda Swami was totally surrendered to Srila Prabhupada. And he was doing some work. We have seen in the previous weeks how it was going on. But now he told Brahmananda Swami, please come with me to Bombay. And I want you to take over this responsibility. Then only I can be confident that we can build this temple in Bombay. So Brahmananda Swami readily agreed. Whatever responsibilities he had, he handed over to other devotees. And with Srila Prabhupada, he returned to Bombay. And after coming to Bombay, some meetings took place with Mr. N. And Mr. N agreed that, okay, I will support you and all those things. And Srila Prabhupada now said, now I want GBC to manage this Bombay project. I have one major responsibility, my real work, that is translation and writing purports to Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and other wonderful spiritual literatures of India. That is the job for me. I am an old man. I may die anytime. But it is my responsibility to give all these books for posterity. I have to translate in English and give detailed purports for the current age. That is my main job. But unfortunately, my brain is taxed day and night in administrative matters. These practical issues GBC should handle. But they were not yet ready. They were all young men and they were new to India and they were not fully ready to take over this. They were sincere people, but they were yet not very confident. So Prabhupada had to do both the things. One is his own translation work should continue. That Prabhupada did during midnight time, between 12 o'clock and 2, 3 o'clock. And rest of the time, Prabhupada's time went in administration, guiding his disciples, talking to the public, having pandal programs. All these things Prabhupada was doing during the daytime. So there was hardly any rest for Srila Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada left Bombay to Chennai, Madras. So this was Srila Prabhupada's visit to Madras the first time after ISKCON was started. If you remember very well, let me see how many of you remember. Those of you who have been with me from the beginning of this lilamrt journey, do you remember that Prabhupada visited Tamil Nadu any time before? In lilamrt, have we seen any time Srila Prabhupada visiting Tamil Nadu? I hope all of you are here.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Remember, Prabhuji, for some trans or some book for book or some to get some references or something, Prabhuji. I don't remember.
Correct. You are very close. Very close. Srila
Yes,
Prabhupada had already written Bhagavad Gita, translation and purports, and the manuscripts are available in Calcutta in his cupboard. And one of his friends was also a medical salesman. He told, there's a very good philanthropist in Tamil Nadu. He is a great educationist also. He will definitely support you in printing this book, publishing this book. He's a very, very wealthy man near Madurai in a place called Karakudi. And his name is Alagappa Chettiar. So I will arrange a meeting for you. Please come. And immediately Srila Prabhupada came to Tamil Nadu. So he must have touched Chennai definitely. And then he must have gone wherever he went, I think Madurai or wherever. And the meeting took place. But unfortunately, Alagappa Chettiar agreed. Please bring the manuscripts. And when Prabhupada went back to Calcutta, he found they were stolen. He never knew who took it. But anyway, they were not there. And nobody owned up that I took it or anything like that. So that was one visit of Srila Prabhupada, but that was before ISKCON was formed. This must have happened sometime in the 50s. In the early 50s, this must have happened. So now Srila Prabhupada, as part of ISKCON mission, he is visiting Madras for the first time. This capital of Tamil Nadu was called Madras at that time. It was called Madras. So Madras state and Madras city. And there was a 5-day Pandal program arranged here. We have already, I think last week, we spoke a little about Madras program.
No, Prabhuji.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, because I am doing both Tamil and English. Sometimes, there's a slight overlap. So I sometimes don't remember whether I have done it here. So Prabhupada went to Madras for a 5-day Pandal program. If you remember, can you tell me other Pandal programs done by Prabhupada before this?
Calcutta, Bombay, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Jaipur,
Yes. Good.
Delhi.
Yes, correct. Yes, and also Surat. I don't know whether there was one in Indore also. Surat was there.
Surat, there was a very good, devotees receiving them.
Yes, devotee
It was
city.
very, yeah.
It was a devotee city. And Ahmedabad, he did not go. He sent Tamal Krishna to go to Ahmedabad. So like this, so many Pandal programs. Now the Pandal program is happening in Madras. So Srila Prabhupada came to Chennai or Madras, and he was received by one businessman by name Mr. Balu. He was a devotee himself, very rich man. I don't know. Only from this book. Nobody in Chennai seems to know him now. I have asked many people, who is this Balu, who is mentioned here in lilamrt? Nobody seems to know this Mr. Balu. He was a big-time businessman. Prabhupada stayed in his bungalow. I don't know where it was located. These details are not here in this book. And they were devotees. And they had a temple in their house, Radha Krishna deities. And the Radha Krishna deities, they would dress them in black. So when daily they will dress them in black. So when Prabhupada's disciples, they asked them, why your Krishna and Radha are always dressed in black? They would answer, actually, they are so effulgent. If I dress them in any other color, the effulgence will actually blind us. That is why to moderate that effulgence, we are using blackness. And then they would never offer Dandavat pranams to their deities. So when these Prabhupada disciples asked them, they said, actually, we are his parents, And parents, if they offer Dandavats to the son, it will be an embarrassment for him. so we don't offer them. So they had some special mood, but they treated Srila Prabhupada very nicely and respectfully. They accommodated all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada in their bungalow, and they also arranged a nice 3-day program in a big marriage hall. I find in another place in this book, Rajeshwari Mahal is mentioned, so perhaps it happened in that place only, in Chennai city, in a big hall, they had a program. And every day, 5,000 people would come every evening. To 5,000 people, Srila Prabhupada addressed them. And apart from that, there was a Chief Justice of Madras High Court. This person, people seem to remember here somewhat. All this happened in 1972. So we are now 53 years before now it has happened. Between now and that program, 53 years ago it happened. So there was a Chief Justice of the High Court by name Veera Swami. He very much admired Srila Prabhupada, and he met Prabhupada almost on a daily basis. He attended the 3-day program in the marriage hall, and so he also arranged a private program for Srila Prabhupada, in which the justices in the court, the lawyers, and also prominent businessmen in Chennai, Madras, they all joined. So Prabhupada was very happy with the reception in Madras, because not only the large hall program was attended by, so there was not really a pandal here. Though it's called a pandal program, it happened in a large hall. It was a ready pakka structure, Rajeshwari Mahal, like that. And in that, 3 days of packed with 5,000 people. And Srila Prabhupada lectured in English. And there was a famous newspaper, now it is infamous. That paper is called The Hindu. And it really stood for Hindu values. It was run by a very good devotee family, Hindu devotee family, in tradition, in parampara. And that Hindu gave very good coverage for religious matters, Hindu religious matters. It was a secular paper, but at the same time, they had their good values. So, religious matters, they would very nicely publish. So, whatever Prabhupada spoke every day, the Hindu, it is just one of 2 major papers in Madras at that time. One is Hindu, number 2 is Indian Express. Only these 2 papers. Times of India was not there at that time. And they gave best coverage of Srila Prabhupada's speech. Every day they would give the complete summary of what Srila Prabhupada spoke, along with pictures and all that. So Prabhupada was very happy about the publicity he was receiving. And then on top of that, Mr. K. Veerasamy, the Chief Justice of Madras, he also arranged a gathering of special people, judges, lawyers, leading citizens of Madras, like that. And in this audience, it's a very special audience. So Srila Prabhupada spoke about Rupa and Sanatana Swami. Can anyone guess why Srila Prabhupada chose to speak on this topic to these people?
Krishna Prabhuji, is that because they were rich and because here all business people here, no Prabhuji, to contribute
Yes.
towards.
Yeah. So what is the example set by Rupa and Sanatana Goswami?
They gave all their property for the Lord's thing, no Prabhuji?
They gave themselves.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Rupa Goswami was the finance minister of Nawab Hussain Shah, who was the king of the eastern part of India, the entire Bengal, parts of Bihar. This huge tract was under him. He was a king. And Sanatana Goswami, prime minister, Rupa Goswami was his finance minister. But when they decided to surrender to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they simply quit everything. They threw away their job, and Rupa Goswami converted whatever wealth they had into gold And all the gold was distributed 50% to Vaishnavas, 25% to relatives and friends, and another 25% was kept for emergency purposes. And anyway, that's the story. So both Rupa and Sanatan simply gave up their power, the position, the prosperity, their name and fame, everything. And they went to the Vrindavan as instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with only a small waist cloth and a small upper cloth. Kaupina Kanta Srithau. That's how Shadgoswami Ashtakam speaks about them. Tyaktva Turnamashesha Mandalapati Shrenim Sada Tuchavad Bhutva Dina Ganesha Gau Karunaya Kaupina Kanta Sritau. Just accepted Kaupin and Kanta. Small upper cloth and small lower cloth. That's all. And every day they slept under a different tree. So that they don't want to develop any attachment now. They have given up such a prosperous life. Now they don't want to develop attachment. This is my tree. This is the place. I will clean up this place. I'll make a nice, smooth, plain ground so that I can sleep comfortably. Maybe I will keep a nice pillow with bricks and all. So they did not want any attachment. So every day they would change the tree under which they sleep. So Srila Prabhupada spoke about this. And as you correctly guessed, Srila Prabhupada was trying to motivate and inspire these people that actually they are wasting their life. You are having enough wealth, name and fame, you have a settled life, and you want to continue like this, and one day you will die, become old, sick and die, invalid and die. But that's not the purpose of life. Learn from Rupa Sanatana Goswami that this is not the goal of life, that you live and die comfortably and become a very famous person, have a lot of command over others. Until you die, you remain a very powerful person, so that they will make statues for you and they will worship you even after you die. No, that's not the goal of life. More important is to take care of the soul. Where the soul will go after death, that should be one's concern. So Srila Prabhupada was motivating them indirectly, not directly. If Prabhupada said directly, they would immediately lose any interest in listening to him. Prabhupada was telling indirectly to make them think, why did a prime minister and a finance minister of a great empire just give up their profession and wealth to follow a sannyasi? Right? So it was an indirect request to the audience to at least take ISKCON seriously, because the same movement for which Rupa Sanatana surrendered themselves, Srila Prabhupada is also surrendered to the same movement. And this movement is meant for the whole world, to benefit the whole population of the world. So Prabhupada is appealing to them, please have a more favorable attitude towards this movement and help us in whichever way you can. Because tomorrow, Madras being a big city in India, we will want to have a big temple here so that we can preach the people. And for that, we will need money and other kind of political support and everything. We are looking to you for all these things. We will want you to become our life members and give us financial and other kinds of moral support to make these things happen. So there is a indirect appeal of Srila Prabhupada. And they listened to him very respectfully. But then Prabhupada knew one thing. Even though they are respectful, Tamil Nadu is steeped in impersonalism. Tamil Nadu, this state, Madras state, people are steeped in impersonalism. Even though they worship many gods, they think all these gods are equal manifestations of the one impersonal God. Impersonal God means no form, no name, no powers, nothing. Just nothing. Impersonal. It's a formless, all-pervading something. And they felt all the gods we see in the temples, they are all simply coming out of that impersonal energy in a material form, and they are all equal. Whichever form I like, I can keep them as my Ishta Devata and worship them. Worship for what? to get my material desires fulfilled, and eventually I will merge in the impersonal form. Because all these gods also temporary manifestations from the impersonal one. And all of us should one day merge in the impersonal. So they considered all gods are equal. No god superior, no god inferior. Ultimate is the formless God. The God with form, they are all equal. And they are all inferior. They are material. So Srila Prabhupada knew this. So at the end of his class, Srila Prabhupada, with great earnestness, he urged the audience, please repeat after me. Prabhupada said, please repeat after me. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now I am requesting you, all my audience here, 8 of you, please unmute and say, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Krishna
Krishna
is
is the
Supreme
supreme
Personality of
personality of
Godhead.
Godhead.
Thank you. Thank you. And when Srila Prabhupada said this, somehow unconsciously, many people in the audience simply repeated what Prabhupada said, even though they are all Mayavadis at heart. Srila Prabhupada wanted to give them at least some mercy. So, at a very unguarded moment, Srila Prabhupada said, please repeat after me, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they all repeated. So that is the compassion of a pure devotee to the fallen people who are unfortunately, they have been attracted by impersonalism. And the Hindu editor, Mr. Kasturi Iyengar, he was also present in these meetings. And the coverage in the paper was excellent. Today, the Hindu is a different story. Anything against Hinduism, they will publish with great eagerness. But anyway, times, Kali Yuga, Kali is advancing. So the Hindu name remains, but whatever inside is not Hindu. So that is how the times are changing. So Srila Prabhupada was happy the way the meeting went. Subsequently, there was a press conference also in a hotel. It was filled with reporters. So many people attended, and Prabhupada first thanked them that thank you very much for giving nice coverage. Krishna will bless you. And now you can ask me questions. So it's an official interaction, correct? There is the press reporter and I am trying to give the interview. So I have a motivation. What is my motivation? I want favorable coverage in all the newspapers and journals and magazines. And the reporter's side, he wants some interesting story that he can write it, and so that his editor will appreciate him. Very good. You made a nice story. I'll give you a raise, or I'll give you a bonus, or I'll give you a promotion, like that. So it's purely official. It always happens like this. Even I have experience of this, because in the bank also sometimes we want to announce a new scheme, then we call a press meeting. Then, the notices are sent to all the newspapers. My PRO will speak to the newspaper rooms, and the reporters will all come, and they all know what to expect. We will give them a nice lunch. We will give them a small gift hamper, and then we will speak to them nicely. And at the end of it, we'll give a piece of paper and tell them, please publish it in your newspaper. This is how it's a mockery, these press conferences. But Srila Prabhupada did not take it that way. Srila Prabhupada was not even very serious that what they will write about me, will they write favorably, will it be useful for my future efforts? No. Prabhupada saw all the reporters as spirit souls. This is what Giriraj Maharaj says, who was present at that meeting. Giriraj Maharaj says, Prabhupada did not speak to them officially, but as spirit souls. And he blessed them and he said, please help us to spread his cause. You accept this mission and you also help us to spread this mission to other places. So within just a few days of Srila Prabhupada being there, the whole city was vibrating with the Hare Krishna's presence. And during that time, Srila Prabhupada barely slept, because early hours, translation, non-negotiable, it has to be done. And every day, Prabhupada was going out for late night engagements. That means the hall program is there. Apart from that, before and after, Prabhupada is visiting the homes of individual people. They are arranging meetings of their friends, relatives, and all the people is going like that. And his energy was far greater than his young followers. Prabhupada, this is 1972, means Prabhupada is 76 years old when he visited Chennai. But in terms of energy, he looked younger than his young followers, hippie followers, who were barely 20 years old at that time. Okay, so one day, Mr. Balu, in whose house they were staying, and his wife, they came to Srila Prabhupada and they implored him, "Oh Srila Prabhupada, we want to hear Rasalila from you. Please speak to us these Rasalila pastimes of Krishna. We are very eager to hear." Srila Prabhupada declined very politely, saying, "This is the most exalted topic about Krishna, and only completely purified people are competent to speak and hear this. Only one in whose heart there is no material desire, only such people can hear Rasalila, because it's such an exalted topic. So I cannot speak like that." Again and again they implored. Prabhupada declined a second time also, saying, "Until we completely give up our material attachments, we should not hear Rasalila." So this is a message for all of you who are here to know how Srila Prabhupada approaches Rasalila pastimes. With the highest veneration, with the highest amount of respect. That is a most transcendental topic that we know Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the highest realization of the supreme absolute truth. So to become a devotee of Bhagavan in itself is a very great thing. And within Bhagavan, Lord Krishna is the supreme most manifestation of the personality of Godhead. There are so many innumerable Vishnu Tattva forms, but Krishna is the highest form. And within Krishna, Mathura Krishna, Dwarka Krishna, and Vrindavan Krishna. Vrindavan Krishna is the highest. And this Vrindavan Krishna has 5 different kinds of relationships with the various Vrajavasis. Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. These are the 5 different relationships Krishna is having. And among these 5 relationships, Madhurya is the highest. And within Madhurya, as we see in Braj, Parakya Bhav. Parakya means illicit relationship. Relationship, it is illicit in material terms. With Krishna, there is nothing illicit because he is the proprietor of everything. So when I use the word illicit, it is in a material context, that a man having a relationship with a woman who is unmarried or is already married to someone, that would be illicit here, right? But Krishna is the owner of everything. But anyway, that Parakya Bhav is considered the highest manifestation of prema, right? And that Parakya Bhav manifests in so many ways in terms of Krishna meeting the gopis and Radharani in different situations and having various pastimes. And among all these pastimes, the highest manifestation is Rasalila pastime. So we can understand why Srila Prabhupada says that these are highly confidential and all of us are not competent to hear about it and speak about it. Because we tend to misunderstand. There is every good reason why in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the literary incarnation of the Supreme Lord, the topics of Krishna are there in the 10th canto. Until you pass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by systematic study under proper guidance, then only you are competent to enter the 10th canto. So, Srila Prabhupada, the 3rd time, when they still insisted, Srila Prabhupada said, "Well, you may be fit to hear Rasalila, but I do not feel that I am qualified to speak it. So kindly ask someone else." Giriraj Maharaj was present. So now consider this, our dear devotees. Srila Prabhupada is a guest in the house of Mr. Balu. Without any expectation or demand, Mr. Balu has opened the doors of his house for Srila Prabhupada and for all his disciples. And he was hosting him for several days. And he was himself a devotee also. Notwithstanding all these things, Prabhupada did not feel obliged to accede to his demand that you should speak about the Raslila. That means this is the height of compassion of Srila Prabhupada. A man with a lesser compassion would have obliged Mr. Paul. He is asking something, let me speak something. But Srila Prabhupada wanted to impress upon Mr. Balu and his wife. I am guessing this. Obviously, Srila Prabhupada, when he said this, he had only the welfare of Balu and his wife at heart. Even though externally to us it may appear, why was Srila Prabhupada so rude to them? After all, he was his host. Why should Prabhupada be like that? But actually, it was mercy. Why mercy? Because Prabhupada impressed upon them how exalted this topic of Raslila is. Because I have already described to you how they treat Krishna in their house. They have a temple and they dress them always in black and they don't offer Dandavat pranams to them. They are treating Krishna as a child. It's all very good. Vatsalya bhav. But then you should not do it in a sahajiya way. If you are doing all this thing in a sahajiya way, that you don't treat Krishna as supreme person. You have not reached that platform of seeing Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. But even before reaching that level of maturity, you are trying to treat Krishna cheaply as my friend, my son, like that. That would not be a wise thing. You will be actually committing aparadhs. Srila Prabhupada used this opportunity to make them understand that Krishna is not cheap. Krishna is the Supreme Person, and his amorous pastimes with gopis, etc., are very, very confidential and they have very high spiritual significance. We should not take it cheaply. So, like that. And then Srila Prabhupada also met many important people in Madras, and wherever Prabhupada went, he spoke to them mainly Yadyadacharati Sreshta, Taddadyeve Itharo Janal, Sayat Pramanam Kurute Lokastat Anuvartate. Prabhupada was imploring everyone, please support us, please support this movement, please become a devotee of Krishna, please learn the values from us, and please set a good example for others, because you are men in high positions. People look up to you. Maybe they are your workers, maybe they are your relatives and friends, maybe they are the general public. You are a person occupying a sincere position, in exalted position in the society of Madras. So if you set a good example, people will follow. This was the main theme of Srila Prabhupada's talking. And he never compromised, right? And never flattered. These are observations of Giriraj Maharaj. Never in any meeting, Prabhupada compromised, like we saw in the case of Mr. Balu. There was no compromise. And there was no flattering to attract people. Oh, you are so great. Oh, I see you are such a nice devotee. You are so sincere, you are pure. You will get all blessings of Krishna. Like the flattering. That was not done by people. All that time he tried to impart Krishna consciousness. Just let us try to take all these things into our heart. Prabhupada, the Jagat Guru, who came to teach Krishna consciousness to the whole world, who has struggled so much in the Western world to create this ISKCON and to spread it to the various continents, but he is not willing to compromise to speed up the expansion of his mission. He is spending every drop of his blood. He is not compromising that. All his energies, all his skills, everything is using to spread the mission. But even then, he is not looking for shortcuts. No shortcuts, no compromise, no flattering. This is our founder Acharya. Let us take it in our heart. All of us have a duty to spread this mission. All of us have a duty to preach. But when we preach, we should always remember, I will never compromise just to show that, yeah, see, I have made so many devotees. I had a program and so many people attended, and to so many people I have distributed the books. No, that's not a matter of statistics. If we are compromising anything in the process, then we are not doing a real service to Srila Prabhupada. Whatever Prabhupada did was by his own sheer effort, not by compromise or flattery. So our best service to ISKCON would be to set a good example in terms of values, that we never compromise values in our personal life, nor just for the sake of getting some cheap publicity that within the movement people will appreciate me, that, oh, I have brought so many new disciples or new devotees like that. No, everything should be done in the proper way without compromise. In terms of 4 regulative principles, in terms of the minimum number of rounds of chanting, in terms of teaching people about the pure bhakti, not mixed bhakti. Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam Anukuli, that pure Uttama bhakti, that is what we should teach to everyone. So that's a lesson we learned from here. Then Prabhupada went to meet Mr. K.K. Shah, who was the governor of Madras at that time, Mr. K.K. Shah. He was a staunch Mayavadi and he was a follower of Shankara school, monism. Prabhupada spent some time with him. He tried to teach him Krishna consciousness, but this governor was constantly interfering and trying to speak in the middle, talking about his own philosophy. Ultimately, Srila Prabhupada requested him, please help us to spread Krishna consciousness in Madras. And the reply Mr. K.K. Shah gave was, as governor, there is nothing I can do since everything is in the hands of chief minister. That's all. He washed off. Being a governor of a state is such a high position. And he says, I can do nothing. That means he has no idea about the importance of spirituality. This was the reply. The governor says, I am a nobody. I cannot help you. All decisions are made by the chief minister. Very clear indication that he is a spiritually in a very, very fallen condition. Though he thinks he is an expert philosopher, he is a Mayavadi, Shankarite, follower of Shankaracharya. He might be expert in Vedanta Sutra and all, but you see what kind of a man he is. He thinks he can do nothing. Okay, next Srila Prabhupada went to visit one elderly scholar and former leading politician who was living in Madras at that time. Former leading politician, actually he was an ex-president of India, and his name was Dr. Sarvepalli, Dr. Radhakrishnan. And if you remember, he has done a translation of Bhagavad Gita with his own purports translation. Srila Prabhupada used that book when he was in America, because it was the best translation available of Bhagavad Gita at that time, even though it's a Mayavadi's book and it is all, only monism is talked about in that book, but still Prabhupada would say, the translation is 90% accurate. So I am using this book, but I don't want you to read this book. I don't want you to read this book. This is all Mayavad, nonsense, misinterpretation. Only for Shloka translation I am using this. Otherwise, all his other comments are all useless. Like one of the comments of Dr. Radhakrishnan, we have already discussed that in our some of the earlier sessions. He would say that when Krishna says Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto Madhyaji, or when he says Sarvadharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Praja, that Mam, when he says I, or to me, etc., it does not refer to the person Krishna. The person Krishna is simply a material body. But inside is there, that the invisible, impersonal Brahman. You should surrender to that. So he would make a distinction between Krishna's body and Krishna's soul. He says Krishna's body is material, inside is Brahman, and we have to surrender to the Brahman. So that is the kind of nonsense Radhakrishnan was writing. He never accepted Krishna as God. So to this person's house now Srila Prabhupada is going to give his mercy. No other reason. Because this person had translated Vedic philosophy from the impersonalist point of view, and he had written many books. Fortunately, I have not seen any of these books, but appears he has written many books. Prabhupada visited him. He was paralyzed and could only sit, and his body was trembling all the time. He could not speak. That was his condition when Prabhupada went. Prabhupada spoke for some time to him about personalism in Gita. This man has all the time written impersonalism of Gita. Now Srila Prabhupada spoke to him about personalism in Gita. And in the old scholars' eyes, Giriraj Swami sometimes saw a glimmer. The glimmer could mean, oh, what a fool I have been to interpret Bhagavad Gita impersonally, and how I missed serving Lord Krishna by accepting as Supreme Personality of God. Perhaps, we don't know, because he could never speak. The old man only made some incoherent sounds. Previously, Prabhupada had criticized his translation of Gita, which declares that, here it is, we don't actually have to surrender to the person Krishna, but to the impersonal, eternal principle within Krishna. So that's all. The meeting ended. There was nothing to do, and Prabhupada came out. But the meeting had a strong effect on Srila Prabhupada. That's how it appeared. Why? After some days, Prabhupada would say, with a serious face, see, this Mayavadi scholar is living like a vegetable. Now, he's just like a vegetable. He refused Krishna as God. He refused to accept Krishna as God. And see today what is his condition, like that. Then Srila Prabhupada met another politician by name V. Rajagopalachari, called Rajaji. Here in Madras, they used to call him Rajaji. He was the first Governor General of India, of the Free India, and he was also, was he a Chief Minister here in Tamil Nadu at any time? I don't know. But he was a very dominant politician. He had a party called Swarajya Party. He was a famous freedom fighter, very dear to Mahatma Gandhi, so much so that he is a Brahmin, Gandhi is a Baniya, but he had a marriage relationship. He gave his daughter to one of the sons of Gandhi, and he very much followed Gandhi's movement. He was focused on the values of life, and he always was keen on prohibition. There should be no liquor distribution in the state. He always, as long as he was in politics, he keenly pursued this prohibition. No one will be allowed to drink, whether it is toddy or foreign liquor or anything like that, nothing. And that is one reason he lost popularity and he lost power also at some point of time. So Srila Prabhupada met this Rajagopalachari, who was a nice Vaishnava devotee also. So Rajaji was very happy to meet Prabhupada. He was already in his 90s. Rajaji was in 90s, but he was alert and very sympathetic to his cause. And he expressed only one doubt. I will read this doubt and I will ask you. Please listen carefully. What is the doubt of Rajaji? Prabhupada has created such a huge institution that now his disciples might identify with the institution rather than with Krishna. If that happens, then by identifying with the institution, they would again fall into the same type of materialism or false identification as before. This is the question. Now, how do you understand? Anyone of you can explain this? How do you understand?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Shall I try, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Prabhuji, Dandat Pranams, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, they are saying that the consciousness, we should not forget that the institution is ISKCON, and the consciousness, we have to stress on that, and we are also on the soul platform. Is it that, Prabhuji? We should not forget that. We should never forget that. Is it that, Prabhuji? I don't know. I just tried.
Honestly, I have to confess, even I had to think many times to extract some meaning from this, but I also found it very difficult. But yeah, I think something like that. I was also thinking that they will become fixed upon the ritualistic aspects of the institution, because institution means they have some rules, some regulations, some practices, and people will become fixed upon this thinking, why I am following 4 regulative principles, I am chanting 16 rounds, so I will go back home, back to Godhead, without focusing on developing a relationship with Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am his part and parcel. I am an eternal soul. And they have a relationship of a servant and master with him. So I should cultivate that relationship. But instead of focusing on this individual personal relationship with Krishna, the devotees may become focused on ISKCON as a movement. For regulative principles, 16 rounds. How many of you hear this often? this way you will go back home back. Nothing more needs to be done. You have your own life. So maybe that's what Rajaji was expressing 50 years ago, that this could happen to your movement. And then Prabhupada replied very beautifully. This reply I will read to you. Prabhupada replied that because Krishna is absolute, Krishna and Krishna's institution are non-different. You remember, Prabhupada always talks about this. In the supreme absolute truth, name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, pastimes, associates, they are all one and the same. It's all part of the internal energy. The Nam, the Dham, and everything, they are one and the same. So Prabhupada is extending that here. And Prabhupada is saying, Krishna and Krishna's institution are not different. So Prabhupada is saying ISKCON is Krishna. Prabhupada is, in other words, saying ISKCON is Krishna. And in fact, that's why many times Srila Prabhupada advised his devotees, never leave ISKCON. Prabhupada said, ISKCON is my body. Right? So even if Prabhupada disappeared, ISKCON, as ISKCON, Prabhupada still lives. And when we say ISKCON, we should understand what is ISKCON. You remember when Prabhupada registered ISKCON as a society in the USA? How did he register it? Anyone remembers? Hare Krishna. I hope you are not forgetting the old sessions. When the new session comes, you don't forget. You should remember, no? Because this happened in 1966, 1 year after
Yes,
Srila Prabhupada went
one
back.
thing I remember is only
Yes.
that international
Yes.
word he was stressing on that. Only that I remember, Prabhuji.
Yeah, no. There was a lawyer. He's a Jewish man. He was very favorable to Prabhupada and he was regularly coming to attend the classes. Most of the participants are hippies, but this man is a lawyer, very respectable man, married with children and all those things, and a Jewish man. He was supporting Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada told him one day, I want to register a society. As a lawyer, I want you to help me. And then Prabhupada dictated 7 objectives of the movement. 7 objectives of the movement. Now, I want all of you to go through these and remember, we are all in ISKCON, but do we know the objectives of ISKCON? And with these objectives only, Srila Prabhupada registered ISKCON. And earlier, when Prabhupada was in Jhansi and he wanted to register a league of devotees, that time also he had the same set of objectives. So nothing changed throughout the life of Prabhupada. His goals remained the same. And as long as we accept those goals of Srila Prabhupada as the goals of our own lives, then we are in ISKCON, not otherwise. We are in ISKCON when we accept those goals of ISKCON as our own goals, and we should have no other goal in our life. These must become our goals. Then we can say we are part of ISKCON. Okay. So that's it. I think our time is up. So the remaining slides, I will take it next week. When I ask you, I want you to tell me that we have to speak about Srila Prabhupada's visit to Mr. Veeraswamy's house, Chief Justice's house. So that is where we will start our next week's session. Thank you very much. If you have any comments or questions, you can make. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I just wanted to share, Prabhuji, I'm hearing Prabhupada's lectures regularly. It's really impressing, Prabhuji, those days, his teaching.